All right, our next masterclass is Mentoring Millennial and Gen Z, Moving Youth to Greatness, which is sponsored by Reading with Royalty. And we're gonna have none other than Dean Imam Dr. Talib Sharif Chaplain, President and Imam of Nations Mosque, Masjid Muhammad, to please take the floor and to be our moderator.
Greetings, and I'm glad to be back after a dynamic session with Queen Mother.
Yes.
And so you really don't need any introductions after that.
No. Next guest needs no introduction.
So it's an honor for me, again, to be with you. And I'm hoping that the audience and the members of GODSU appreciate greatly. You all are the foundation, and it's just so beautiful to see how the organization, the family, the unit, the oldest and most threatened institution in human history, the family, we see how it's been protected, guided, put in a special place so it can grow and develop properly. And of course, we're going to be talking about, as you just mentioned, mentoring. And of course, like every individual, when it comes to a mentor, they are like a seed. And if I take an apple seed and sit it on the desk, nothing's going to happen to the apple seed. Although we know that the potential in an apple seed is a big tree, right? That little seed is a big tree, and it has so much productivity. But if we put that seed in the right environment, give it the right cultivation, the right nurturing, then we begin to see that seed begin to bloom into the potential that is in it. That little seed becomes a big tree. Each of you were once that seed, and you were placed in a dynamic environment, and you received the right cultivation, the right watering, mentoring. You got the right sunshine on you, and you have bloomed. And it's just so amazing over the years, just to see how you've bloomed over the years. And I remember when I first met Sudan, how small she was, just getting started out, just starting the business with the dolls, and then look at her now. Look at her now, Miss Black Florida talented teen. I mean, and articulating. I mean, so well. It was just encouraging. It was inspiring, and I hope the viewers have had a chance to watch her, the clips that were sent around about her speaking in that role. And I was so grateful. In fact, you as well, Cairo, her excellent, you as well, speaking at the UN, the applause that you received, and I'm gonna have to ask you about that, both of you, that those opportunities, what it was like, what it felt like. I mean, to be live and just get the response you've gotten, and as you see yourself in those roles and how you have gotten to that stage right now. Both of you have grown tremendously. So let me just start with that for a minute before I get into some of the questions. I just want to hear from you two. I obviously had a chance to listen to it, and again, like I said, I was inspired by it, I was just blown away, really, just to look at, after again having met you years ago, and then to see you now, the stage that you're on right now, and you really you have a captive audience. You are now becoming influential yourself. You are really at the point now where you are being mentors for others. They're looking at you, and we're going to talk about the difference between a role model and a mentor as well. But let me just hear about your experience with that, those recent experiences right now. Start with you, Sudan.
For those who don't know, I was honored to be able to speak to teen girls from the ages of 8 to 18 years old, and speaking to them not just about what they can do, giving them resources, but also how to combat maybe bullying or cyberbullying that they're going through, and different outlets of how they can express their feelings in a good way, in a conductive way. So with that, I talked to all of those girls in that room were underprivileged. So they were people that actually really needed the advice. I was accompanied by Tragil Wade, She is the one that runs the organization that facilitated the event, along with Girls Who Brunch. They travel all over the United States talking to disadvantaged girls and giving them financial advice, mentorship, responsibilities in and out of their communities. And so I was just honored to be able to be on that panel. And I was the only one that was their age group, that was in their age group. So it was really nice seeing their faces light up like, huh. And it was really funny too. I saw a girl that actually I went to middle school and elementary school with there. So I was like, oh, okay, that's so funny. And she's like, Sudan? And I was like, hi. Because I do keep my like personal life and my professional life separate. So people that aren't like close friends of mine, they don't know anything like that I do. So it was really interesting. She was like, you're here? That's so crazy. And she was like, you're on stage. So yeah, it was a really nice experience, and being able to inspire them, but also talk to them. I don't want to ramble, but it was a really nice experience seeing like there were these sixth graders that ran up to me and they were like, oh my God, can I please get a picture with you? And it just warmed my heart. I never experienced that before. So I'm glad that I was able to touch their lives.
Yeah, that was amazing. And again, like I said, now you used to run up to people, and now you have people running up to you, younger ones, because you're inspiring them, and you had a commanding presence. It's more willing to just being able to speak. Your demeanor, it was so professional. I mean, you commanded the stage. I mean, it was just dynamic to see, and I was just proud. I just felt proud to see you in that role, and you handled it so well. And so now our United Nations Youth Representative, you on that committee, right?
Yes, I'm the co-chair of the.
Yes. So and again, very impressive. So I need to hear from you. Being in such an authoritative audience, the body, to be in that room and to have all the attention was on you, and and the way you held it. I mean, and to get the kind of applause that you received. Please share with us.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And you're referring to Africa Day at the United Nations, May 25th, where I was honored to have been selected as a 2022 Young Pacesetter for Africa Development. And so it was truly an honor to be one of 8 pacesetters who were selected from around the world. So we had individuals who were representing different regions in West Africa, as well as throughout the 6 regions of Africa, when we think about those 5 regions and then the African diaspora, of course. But that being said, it was really, truly an honor to be able to go back to literally when I was born, when I was, made in God's image, to connect to my first mentor, who was my mom. I listed 3 prominent women in my life, first being my mother and the lesson that she taught me, which is to never forget where you come from. And then she connected me with Queen Mother Dr. Blakely, who taught me the importance of creating a space or a seat at the table to create intergenerational dialogue. And then through the work that I was doing and have been doing as a youth representative for New Future Foundation, I had the opportunity to meet my mentor, Ms. Hawa Diallo of the Department of Global Communications Civil Society Unit, and she's the advisor for the committee. And she's really taught me just the importance of making sure that once you have created a space for intergenerational dialogue, to make sure that you then pass on opportunities to help others lead as well and to be noticed and recognized. So even during my speech, I don't know if you noticed this, Imam Dr. Sharif, but when I first brought up my connection to the African diaspora or African continent in terms of my name and what it means, I named my other siblings, and I made sure to have Sudan in the frame and got to wave, because it was really important that she see me in this light. It's so important that we have visual representation, especially for leaders who look like myself, who are not necessarily traditionally the sort of people who have been running some of these different spaces associated with the UN.
Wonderful.
I just add, she's being really humble right now, because I talked about me getting a couple fans rushing up. She had the entire room afterwards rushing up, 20 autographs. So.
Yeah. All right. Famous. That's good. They'll be looking for you in the future as well. We all will be looking for you in the future. You are our present future leader. So we certainly have great expectations of you, as you do of yourself. Yes. So and you begin to share some things that I wanted to really hear from each of you, really, some of the things that you've learned, and that you mentioned three of them, and that was in the speech that you, and you mentioned something from, are there other things that you've learned from your mentors, and not only what you've learned, and also how do you use what you've learned that you've gotten from your mentors to help others? I want to hear that from you, Cairo, and then I want to hear from the others as well.
Okay, that sounds good. I would say that the greatest lesson that I've learned is just through the visual representation of seeing very strong women in leadership who are Black, who have natural hair, who are commanding rooms, and, you know, have the respect of so many prominent leaders. It's really amazing to be in that presence, to be able to be a part of that energy. And they do say that you're the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And so if you see my call log, you'll see that I'm constantly talking to my mentors, or I'm constantly communicating with my mentors, because it's really important to remember where I came from and how I can then be able to propel others using that same mindset of, you know, always making sure to give a hand up and a hand, not a hand out, but a hand up in terms of providing a platform for students to be able to speak or for youth to talk. And I'll share a little bit more about that tomorrow in terms of what I'm doing with Bringing the Globe, but I've created a platform and a space for students to be able to connect and also be able to share their stories, be empowered to then also peer mentor and get other students also to engage in the same sort of advocacy that's tied to these sustainable development goals.
Oh, wonderful. I know many are now ready to hear that, and they're gonna be looking forward to that tomorrow, because that's important. That's something important information, very beneficial. All right, Dakar, His Excellency Dakar. Same question. I want to know about, you know, some of the significant things that you learned from your mentors, and then also how you using those things that you learned to that knowledge that you've gotten to help others.
Absolutely. So significant lessons that I learned was how to properly manage my money and learning communication skills. So I learned from my mentors, I learned how to shake someone's hand properly and give a proper introduction, elevator speech. We have several of our outstanding workers, and we teach them, our outstanding workers, to do the elevator speech for our Wednesday icon talk. And tomorrow at graduation, they'll be giving their elevator speech at the conference. So I look forward to that. So, and my managing money properly and communicative skills, I use that daily, making sure I keep my accounts properly and make sure if I need to order anything for clients that I add that in to the cost. So thank you.
Now, are you specifically speaking about the Dakar marketing in terms of money associated with that business that you have?
Yes, for my managing of my business and managing of my personal, for communicating and for money as well.
How long have you been in business now?
For Dakar marketing tools have been 5 years.
Okay. Was there a business before that?
Yes, so that was my from middle school. So all the way from middle school, I started cleaning and restoring shoes for my classmates and my teammates. I did basketball and other sports. So my teammates, I would repair their shoes, or I would go to Goodwill and I would buy shoes for low and that are in bad shape. I would fix them up and sell them for a profit. So that was my first business ventures.
Wow. So I have to ask you, since we're speaking about what you learned. So now did you have a mentor for that, or did you pick what was the inspiration that led you to that? I mean, was it based on mentorship, someone that you had?
So in
because you're talking middle school. I mean, that's what, 7th, 8th grade, right? Yeah. Give us some more on that. I mean, that's amazing.
Yes, absolutely. And we're gonna touch more on in our Empower You conference, but when we have our panel for our Eubanks family entrepreneurs, but from a young age, you see Sedan here, the youngest,
Mhm.
Myself and Kyra, we all from a young age were at our parents' business meetings, and we're
Okay.
learning,
Mhm. Mhm.
learn to be silent while they're conducting business and take notes, observe. And if we have any questions, we can raise our hand or write a note. But to be able to learn from our elders and learn from examples, and that led into my entrepreneurial spirit with the shoes, with the restoring the
Wow,
shoe.
wow. Yeah, I want the audience to hear that because certainly everybody listening doesn't have the environment, your immediate environment. You had two distinguished leaders in the family, and you're speaking about the opportunities that they afforded to you and how they helped to shape you from that particular time. So you let others know if they don't have that in their life, and everybody doesn't have that.
Right.
That's important for them because again, you're talking middle school, and look what you were doing in middle school. That tells where you're thinking, where your mind was. That there are others who have children in middle school, but they don't have that in the home. They need to find someone outside of the home that would afford them the kind of opportunities that you had to maybe come to those meetings, to their meetings, business meetings, and sit and listen and observe to help shape their thinking as they continue to grow like you have now to be a successful business person. Now, that's important that you shared that so people can hear that, and then try to find those kind of things because that's what it needs. It's too late when you become a high schooler. Sometimes it's too late. Like I said, now is the time because you're so impressionable. When you say you just you absorbed, and now you can speak about how you benefited from that and how that has helped you to help others right now. So I'm glad you went back to share that with us, and we look to hear more also on that on the panel, on the Eubanks panel, as well as you go and do some more drill down on that as well. Now back to you, Sudan, on the significant lessons that you learned, and then what you've done. What have you done with those lessons, the knowledge from those lessons to help others?
Okay. Well, as part of Reading with Royalty, which I hope you guys are listening, I kind of expanded upon that earlier. My nonprofit, a little like section of it, I'm dedicating towards fundraising for a pay what you can restaurant. There's only a very small amount of pay what you can restaurants left in the US due to COVID, but it allows for people who can't afford food to get quality food at the price that they can at the price that they can afford. And so I'm looking to fundraising and being able to pay for 1,500 meals. And with that, I had to go and ask my my mentor, Dr. Danny Porte, who I love so much, and ask him, where do I start? How do I ask people for money? I don't feel comfortable doing that. And how do I make sure that the fundraising actually goes through? How do I make sure that people truly care about this cause? And he stayed on the phone for me, with me for like an hour, just going over everything that he's learned in his business experience and his fundraising experience, and just giving it to me. And then also there are other things. I have many mentors. I would say I have things for even like tiny things, like for example, taking care of my pet guinea pigs who I love so much. And Dakar has been a mentor. YouTube has been a mentor. Like the thing about it is that, yes, I have the privilege to be able to contact people that are, experts in their fields. But some people don't have that, and we have to go to other resources like online. So it's a long list of mentors, but I would say those are the main two in my life right now.
Mhm.
Yeah, you brought out something very important, Sudan. And in fact, it lets people know sometimes people see mentoring as a one way, the being put in, but you showing how you say, I asked this question, I asked that question, I asked, how do you do this? How do you do that? And so you were able to maximize, this is how you maximize utility from your mentor, so you can really begin to grow and sprout, etc. Because questions bring out the best in you, and it brings out great potential in your soul, which is why it's important to ask questions. So people can't be afraid to ask questions. They have that, and you're showing that there's value, the great value is in asking questions. That's where you really get your growth at. So I'm glad you shared that. So now I want to ask another question of each of you. What, you've all been mentored, and some have several mentors. So what are examples of mentorship? You give examples to the audience.
Hmm.
You know what I would say is the greatest form of mentorship, because I believe that oftentimes people traditionally think of mentorship as just sharing past experiences and just being able to ask questions and have your questions answered in order to perhaps, have some lessons learned instead of having to learn the hard way. But I believe that mentorship should go deeper than that. Mentorship should be, as I said before, an opportunity to actually provide a platform for people to actually gain skills or gain job opportunities. Like, for example, I know that you had just shared about Dr. Danny Porte, who is a mentor for all of us. He actually inspired me to get certified for the state of Florida as a minority and woman-owned business. And this is something that I did under his mentorship, his guidance, and just being able to have more opportunities as a result of getting these certifications. It's really opened my eyes. And I would not have, for example, been as aware or as encouraged had I not had a mentor who was really helping me with my business structure, my business acumen. So I believe that, as it relates to mentorship, yes, it's important to have conversations. Yes, it's great to have dialogue, but also what are you doing to actually take action so that way you can actually build towards your future strategically and intentionally. And it's not just a conversation.
I love that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're saying that there should be some tasking, some action steps, and those kinds of things that are measurable, so you can see that you have some improvement or some movement in the direction that you're trying to go.
Exactly.
And I would like to,
Excellent.
Dr. Talib Sharif, you were talking to me and kind of talking about the opportunity that I had to talk to the teen girls, and I got that opportunity through my mentor. I would have been on the roster. I was on the roster last year when it was virtual, but I didn't know about the in-person one happening right in my city. And so my mentor, the mayor of Miramar, Wayne Messam, actually gave me the opportunity, got me in contact with the people who gave me the opportunity. And even when I was alluding earlier to the Youth Leaders Institute that I'm going to be speaking at Nova Southeastern University actually next week.
Congratulations.
Talking about stress in teens and how it truly affects us on so many levels. That was offered to me by my mentor who runs the Broward Youth Coalition, Jenna Stein. So it's really not just, like Cairo said, it's really not just conversations, but it's putting people on a platform, especially young people, and giving them an opportunity to reach a larger audience.
Yeah, I like that. And so you're also showing that a mentor also helps create opportunities for you, to reach the goals that you have that have been mutually set by you and the mentor. Excellent. So Dakar, now your examples. Give me your examples.
Yes. So my example was, I talked earlier about my shoe company and how I learned how to have proper managing for my money.
Yes.
As a mentor, as a lesson, but that was because my shoe business, I didn't charge the client for other materials that would be needed. So I had to close down that business because I wasn't managing the money right. And my mentor actually gave me advice to do graphic design. And it was because of that, my mentor helped me with that I have the car marketing tools today. So that's the importance of a mentor.
Yeah, that's good. Go ahead, Sudan.
I was gonna say, in Dakar, you're so humble, and he does such a great job at teaching people how to move from a brick and mortar to now online, especially in the pandemic when we're all just online focused. And I see so many comments being like, Dakar has changed my life. He's changed my business life. He made me. He allowed me to understand how to. Zoom and other social media platforms. So truly mentorship makes a difference in young people's lives.
Yeah, no, and again, you just underscored another one, His Excellency Dakar, because you were saying that the mentor was paying attention.
Yeah.
Mentor paying attention and help facilitate and help vector you into an area where he saw where you'll be more successful as well. So that's a good thing to show, and that's a good example of things that mentors should be and what they should be about. Now somebody mentioned role model, so I have to ask you, what do you believe is the difference between a role model and a mentor? Do you see a difference? If you do, tell us. Okay, Cairo.
I would definitely say that one nuance between a role model and a mentor is that oftentimes a role model is someone that you might admire and you might want to become like, but maybe you don't necessarily have a connection to them, a personal connection where you can actually interact with them. So you might see someone who's a celebrity, or they may have amassed great fortune, and you want to be just like them. But having a mentor who, for example, is in the industry that you are interested in, or is doing some of the work that you're curious about, or that you are yourself building within your own business or entrepreneur pursuits, being able to actually have a relationship with them that goes beyond just reading about them in the news. Instead, you can actually pick up the phone, you can ask them questions. Like, for example, I always use this story, Imam Dr. Talib, of when I was getting ready to go to Egypt, and it was Egypt during Ramadan in 2018, and I cannot wait to go back, I'm telling you. And part of the reason why my trip was so successful was because I was able to call you up, Imam Dr. Sharif, and ask you questions and be able to prepare properly. So I just thank you for that as well.
Good. That's good example of what the difference between a role model and a mentor. Do you have anything that you want to share about that as well, Sudan?
Oh, yeah. I would say, for example, an idol, somebody that I admire, is Ketanji Brown Jackson. Okay, got it the first time. So I admire her because she's not just in politics, but she's also in law, and that's what I aspire to do, and be as successful as her and break as many barriers as she has. But she's not my mentor. I have never even breathed the same air that she has. I've never stepped in the same room and that she's been in. So I admire her for sure, but she doesn't compare to my mentors, who I'm able to just text or call or reach out to and get a response from and hear from.
Wonderful. Okay. Yes. That's a good. His Excellency, Dakar, your thoughts on the difference.
Yes. So yes, my sisters touched on it, but the difference between the role model is, a role model is proven. They're tested. You can see them. You mentioned celebrities, but maybe they're not on TV. They may not be a celebrity, but they're tested. They're proven, and the mentor is someone that you can personally touch, you can personally pick up the phone and talk to, and have mentoring sessions with, and they can see, they can tell you, that shoe business, you're managing it wrong. You should do it this way. You should do it that way. Maybe you should go into another business like graphic design, so they can give you that personal advice.
Yeah, now that was important because a lot of people were struggling with that and they didn't know the difference. And some of them thought they had a mentor. And you've just shown that really a person that you admire, you might want to be like, it's just that they may make you want to be like them, but they're not the ones to bring out the creative purpose that's in you. And that's the main difference, because they're facilitating, they're cultivating to help bring out something that's in you based on the interest that you have. And of course, the role model, yes, they make you want to be like them, but they don't necessarily make you want to be like this. The God, I like God's you, the God, what God put in you, I like that. Wonderful. That's wonderful. Yes. Now, how can I mentor you if I wanted to mentor you?
I love this question so much. And you know what I would tell you, Imam Dr. Sharif? I would tell you that one of the ways in which I would love to be able to learn from you is to be able to learn firsthand some of the lessons that you've been imparted overseeing the nation's mosque, because I truly admire Malcolm X and all that his legacy led, and has created. And you are at the forefront of continuing that legacy. So that is one, being able to learn more than what we'd probably be able to read about because you have inside knowledge. And then two, speaking engagements. I'd love to be able to not only just shadow you and to learn how you conduct yourself in some of these intercultural settings, but I would also love to be able to actually work with you and to work under you as a speaker, because some of the fields in which you talk in, those global platforms are a lot of the different areas in which I'm headed as well within the United Nations, the associations that I have, as well as bringing the globe as an international virtual exchange platform. So I would love to be able to continue that conversation if that is something of interest, of course.
Yeah, we got, in fact, I'm supposed to take a delegation to the Middle East in December. And it's difficult always trying to find people who can handle themselves it's a middle high level delegate. Which means you're gonna be speaking to presidents of Palestine, president of Israel, and stuff like that, and in all segments of society. So if you're interested in that, then we need to follow up on that, because I'd love to have you as part of that delegation. It's in December. I know I'll speak to your parents about it as well, but and because you've traveled before.
Yes, I have.
And that's an opportunity, because you're going to have all the elements, some of the things you mentioned about, we're going to be speaking to the interfaith leaders, university leaders, and of course you have some things you can share in that and make some connections there with some work you're doing as well. So I definitely want to follow back up with you on that to see if you want to be a part of that, because we get ready to move fast to put that together.
Oh, yes,
December the 14th when we're leaving the country.
She's going.
It's going to be 7 to 9 days.
She doesn't need to speak to her parents. She's gone to her room.
Okay.
How's her hibab? She's
All
right.
right. I'm gonna follow up because I need to get some information from you, so I'll follow up on that one. Wonderful. Okay, Sudan, same question.
Okay, well, it's okay. So next year I'm gonna be going into my junior year because I'm a sophomore starting in August. So I'm going into my junior year of high school next year. And over the summer, I need internships, hopefully in the realm of government, politics, anything with international relations or law, that's perfect. So if you know anybody, that'd be great if I can get in contact with them. Speaking engagements, I'm always happy to speak to people, especially teens, about things that are really important. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and they need to hear your voice. How old are you now?
I'm 15.
Yeah, so you definitely, it's very important for your peers and others to hear you as a present future leader. I gave the story earlier about the Tuskegee Airmen, about them being 15 years old when they achieved the things they achieved. It's rare to see 15-year-olds achieving things that you have achieved now at that age. So you definitely need to be in that arena a lot more. And there's definitely opportunities, certainly in the DC area for internships. We have a lot of relationships with the congressional leaders too, who are always looking to bring people in. And you certainly the type of person that will make us proud. You wouldn't disappoint us. So you're the type that they'll be looking for. Very responsible individual.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Excellency, Dakar.
Absolutely. So I would love to get mentoring and get some help with the different imams at your mosque, and because I know you work with different interfaiths, your work interfaith, so you work with people with a lot of different faiths, and we want to make sure they're up on their technology with their Zoom and other virtual ways of reaching out to other people that aren't in your brick and mortar. So that's something that I would love to help with.
Okay, we need to, in fact, we're going to be doing a series of Zooms, and we need to add you to that series.
Wonderful.
And it's going to bring those from across the country in the positions that you're speaking of. And most of them, because they're older and like me, they're not into the Zoom stuff. And I know every time I get on there with them, is they always saying, how do I do this? How do I do that? So, and there are other things that you can also have an opportunity to share that they could benefit from as well. So we need to follow up on that also. Now, y'all reminded me of there's a 4-star general. He was actually the first 4-star general in the military, African American 4-star general. And his nickname was Chappie. Chappie. Have you ever heard of him? Chappie James is what they called him. Chappie James. Now he was given a story once about when he was growing up, and he referred to his mother as a role model and a mentor. He said she was both. And one thing he really wanted us to know from him, he said that his mother is one that really helped him get prepared. And this is what she told this is some of the things she told him. She told him, say, you yourself, son, have to knock on the door of opportunity. Can't nobody do that for you. And she said, when you knock on that door, son, and someone comes to the door, don't say, wait a minute, let me go back and get my bags. She said, no, son, you be ready with your bags packed. So when that door opens, you can go right through. Because if you have to go back, that door is going to close between the time you have to go back to prepare yourself. And so you all seem to have your bags packed and
Yes,
you're ready to go.
Carol specifically.
Yes, her bags packed.
Yeah. All the things we were speaking about, different opportunities, your bags are already packed to seize the opportunities. And again, that's something that a mentor, you're bringing out, you're showing that a mentor helps you get your bags packed. So you can seize opportunities by the opportunities being created and also by you seizing opportunities. And they say that most opportunities are missed by people because it comes dressed in overalls and looks like work. But you all don't shy away from work. You are showing that you run to work. In fact, you really are showing as God's youth students that work is worship. Work is worship. It's a way to give service to Almighty God. You know, you're bringing out the gifts that He's given you, and you're working. I remember as a Muslim, I still quote other scriptures. I know that Jesus, peace be upon him, he said, don't you know I must be about my Father's business? And of course, we translate it to say that, look, I understand my purpose, that I was put here to do the works and the will of Almighty God. He understood his purpose. He had to be about his Father's business. And it's so beautiful speaking to you three, because you understand your created purpose. You know, you're building upon that. And you all are postured to give to others. It's not, you're not selfish. And that's also rare, because a lot of people, when they begin to come into their own, they get selfish. But you three are not selfish. And I know it has a lot to do with the parents that you have, because they've created opportunities to really help people find themselves, come into themselves, build upon themselves, and bring the best out of them. And they create opportunities for a lot of people to do just that. And you are products of that as well. And again, I hope the audience is also appreciating. I know they ought to have to appreciate this when you see this. You know, the diversity of age and gender that we have in front of us, and the great works that you have done. So with that, I know we are pretty close to time. With that, I know we're trying to make up some time too. But again, it's been an honor again to moderate this panel discussion with you three. And I just have to underscore that everybody should be looking at this as just a healthy, productive family. You know, and you all encourage other families that some are dysfunctional, but when they see this family and how healthy you are, and how productive you are, it helps them to relook and revisit maybe mistakes they've made, and to try to do some things to get things back on track. You are an example of that, as well as when we see the full picture with you and your parents. That's a beautiful picture, and that really shows what the world needs and what we should be doing to bring the best out. That fingerprint that everybody has, that really says, Almighty God says that The fingerprint means that each person is created to make an imprint on the world, on the world. And that's what you three are doing right now. And you have let us know, those who have tuned into this, that a good mentor helps you find that imprint so you can begin making your mark on the world. And we're encouraged by you, and we're inspired by you as well. And we look to hear more from you, and we will be watching you as you continue as our present, future leaders. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Imam Dr. Talib Sharif. And I just want to say, before we segue or we transition into the next masterclass, just want to say something, that title that they had given me, a pace setter, right? What does that mean? Someone who's a trailblazer, someone who sets the pace for others. But what I've realized is that the pace was set for me before I even came into this world. And so because there were pace setters who've been a part of my life this entire time, like yourself, it then gives rise to the reason why we are so uniquely qualified as young leaders. So thank you for your time, the lessons that you shared. I wrote down notes. I always write down notes whenever you speak, Imam Dr. Talib, and I will be messaging you after this. So please stay tuned. But with that being said, thank you again for your time. Thank you to our wonderful panelists. I always learn so much from my incredible siblings. And it's just a blessing to get to be here and get to share.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Imam.
Indeed. No, it's an honor. It's an honor. And you not only follow pace setters, you're setting the pace as well. You're setting the pace now.
Yes.
We're looking at you.
Well,
yeah. And our hope is in you, and we can see it.
yes.
And it shows us that there's a bright future.
Yes.
There's a bright future. Yeah.
Yes. Future
some people they've lost hope, but when they look at you and what you're doing, it helps them regain and restore hope again, which is very important for human life. And the more you do that, it'll maximize and reach other people, and then it'll help reduce the troubled world, and we have a more hopeful world.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Imam Dr. Talib. You have no idea how much you have imparted upon us tonight. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm looking at some of the different attendees and some of the comments that they're writing and saying that you were not only such a wonderful moderator, but you're such a great mentor as well. So
and such a great man of God.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you all bring out the best.
It's God. It's God. But with that being said, thank you so much for your time. And we want to make sure that we are keeping and continuing right on to the next masterclass. And so I wrote down so many notes. I know everyone else did. And if you thought that this was incredible, just wait until you see our next panel discussion.